Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Charles Tabansi. I want to welcome you guys to another episode of the Dreamers Pro Show, where we cover everything from sports, hot topics, classic debates, entertainment, and we give you guys a fresh perspective on things and how we see them. And today, man, I don't even know what to say about those damn Clippers, but unfortunately, we got to talk about them. But before we get into it, please make sure you like the video and subscribe to the channel. Also, if you want today's full show before it comes out, it's streaming for free on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. We have that pinned in the comment section below. Let me just talk about these damn Clippers. Before the game started yesterday, I put out like a funny post on the community where I was joking, but I was serious. I said, Lord, please, let the Clippers not start James Harden tonight. Of course, some people had a good laugh at me, which I totally understand, because at this point, we've turned into a laughing stock at this particular point. So what happened? James Harden started in the game, and I was like, God, here we go again. But as I was watching the game in that first quarter, the Clippers seemed to be executing properly on offense and on defense. They were trapping Luka. Things were going perfectly. But then I knew the inevitable would happen, that they would start to break down. The Mavs would make an adjustment, and the Clippers wouldn't be able to figure things out. In the first 6-7 minutes or so, or maybe the first quarter, the Clippers were really firing on all cylinders. And what I noticed in that first quarter was that the offense was running through Kawhi. Harden was playing off the ball, and I think that's your best way. I think you should initiate your offense through your best player. Who knew? I mean, this is such, innovative thinking, but I thought that's what you should do, and the Clippers were seeing success. Kawhi Leonard was getting into a good rhythm. But inevitably, things started falling apart. They got into the second quarter, and they started going to their bench unit, and I was looking at the compilation of players that they had on the floor, and I'm looking at the roster. I'm seeing Terrence Mann. I think I saw Russell Westbrook, or James Harden, or Russell Westbrook. Then they had PJ Tucker and all of these guys. And I'm looking at the Clippers roster. I'm like, why is this team so small? Why is it so small? You with the former roster you had more length, you had more versatility defensively, and dare I say, you had more three-point shooting in Nicholas Batum and Robert Covington. Why the Clippers gave that up? Only God in heaven knows why they did that. And as I was watching the game, it just started to become more embarrassing literally by the dribble. And I looked up at the halftime score, and the Clippers gave up 77 points in the first half. In the second half of that game, the ineptitude continued. Let me give you guys some figures. Get this. In the second half of the game, the Clippers found a way to outscore the Mavs. They scored 75 points, but they gave up 67 points, almost 70 points. Clippers were giving up 30 points a quarter in the second half. In the first half, they gave up an average of damn near 40 points a quarter. That was the first part. The second alarming trend was Paul George was not able to throw the ball into the ocean. Paul George finished that game shooting 3 of 12. 3 of 12. He finished the game shooting 25% and 14% from the three. The only people that were able to get a good rhythm or a decent rhythm were Kawhi, who scored 26. He shot 53% from the field and 53% from the three, 100% from the free throw line. Ivica Zubac was able to get into a flow. James Harden was able to get into a flow, and Russell Westbrook shot pretty decently. He shot 0% from the three, but he only attempted 1. Looking at this roster, what I'm noticing is this. The Clippers gambled with James Harden. They added a variable that I think that if they get it wrong, it will totally destroy their team. If they get it right, it could absolutely work. The question then becomes, why would you jeopardize your team like this when you already had a good team to begin with? I am yet to understand what is it that James Harden has given the Clippers that they didn't already have. Somebody will say, oh, well, they had playmaking, but Russell Westbrook was a playmaker. You had Paul George at times who could be a playmaker. You had Kawhi Leonard who at times could be a playmaker. But they needed that additional playmaker. And the problem was you're adding now another Hall of Fame player. And when you add another Hall of Fame player, it's not the same thing as just going out there and getting a point guard that is just good at distributing the ball. You now have to consider the fact that if this guy is not working, you can't just summarily relegate him to the bench, because there's going to be some issues when you're benching a Hall of Fame player. Did James Harden come to the Clippers to become a bench player? Well, let me ask the people that are supporting this trade. Listen, people are saying you should give this trade more time. And I'm saying more time won't solve the problem. Do you know why? Number one, the Clippers are not going to get any taller as a team in the next 10 games. The Clippers are too small. Robert Covington was a legitimate 6'7", 6'8", but he was a very versatile defender. He could play big as a defender. PJ Tucker, if he's not offensive rebounding and playing some type of defense, although he's very strong, he's not going to be a threat on the court in terms of stretching the floor. He was airballing threes yesterday. He's not going to shoot. He's not going to be any single threat. And why you would give up a Nicholas Batum and a Robert Covington and switch that out with PJ Tucker, I don't understand. This was an all-time embarrassing loss. All-time embarrassing. Westbrook and Harden cannot be in the same starting lineup. Their skill set is too redundant. They cannot be in the starting lineup. I think they have too many offensive players. There's too much offense on the floor and not enough versatility. Too many of those guys are doing the same thing. Kawhi Leonard and Paul George can play defense. Russell Westbrook and James Harden cannot really play defense. So their defense actually got worse. That's what happened. This is the genius thing the Clippers did. Their defense got even worse. Because at least with before, you had, let's say you had a starting lineup of Russell Westbrook, Paul George at the 2, Kawhi at the 3 playing his natural position. You had Robert Covington at the 4, who could play defense and shoot the 3. Then you had Ivica Zubac. The Clippers have now gone to starting Russell Westbrook, put in James Harden at the 2 to come off the ball. You put Paul George at the 3. You put Kawhi Leonard at the 4. So the Clippers are so stupid. This is such a stupid team. This is such a stupid team. I'm sorry to say it. They're so stupid. So what happens when the Clippers go against Denver Nuggets? What do you think is going to happen? What in your rabbit ass mind do you think is going to happen to the Clippers when they face the NBA champions? Because you got to go through them. Or is the hope that, oh, we don't want to play them? What happens if the Clippers have to face the Lakers and Anthony Davis gets Ivica Zubac in foul trouble, which is more than likely? Then what, you gonna put what, Kawhi on Anthony Davis? You gonna put what, Kawhi on Nikola Jokic? Mason Plumlee is going to be gone for a while. There's no way you can look at what just happened yesterday and the embarrassment that Luka Doncic had like 40 plus points in by the third quarter. I mean, it was a clown show. He was pick and rolling Ivica Zubac into oblivion. If you walk away from that game and you're still thinking, oh, something is going to change, the question I have to ask you is, what exactly are you expecting to change? What is the thing specifically that will change? They'll start to gel where? Where? On offense? How? They are who they are. Defense? James Harden and these guys are who they are. They're a small team, and they will be a small team. The Clippers I don't think the Clippers are going to probably have a chance to make the playoffs this year. No. And if the Clippers don't make the playoffs, they need to blow this team up into oblivion. They need to send each of them to different planets. It is just not working. And why the Clippers would overcomplicate their roster, only they know. They had something good, and then they went and effed it up. Something was working, you broke it, and now you want to fix it again. That's the Clippers for you. I'm not supporting them right now. I'm not supporting this type of stupid. I'm not doing it. Because this is all it was unnecessary. And of all people, James Harden. The Clippers went after James Harden. That should tell you everything you need to know. They saw something in James Harden that nobody else saw.